Hello everybody, it's Josh your boy here, and today we're going to be ranking every single Alex Rider villain from best to worst, but the other way around. I do that every single time. So the way I'm going to be ranking these is basically just off the character and their motives. It's nothing else, it's nothing to do with the book, so it's just whether I like their character. So they could have a bad book and still be a good villain. And today we are ranking the following villains: Herod Sale, Hugo Grief, General Alexei Sarov, Damian Cray, Mrs. Rovman, I've run out of fingers already, Nikolai Drevin, Winston New, Major Winston New, sorry, Desmond McCain, Abdul Razim, Vladimir Sharkovsky, the Grimaldi twins, and Nightshade. I'm aware that in Nightshade Revenge there is that weird guy who ends up being the villain, but it's a rubbish, but we don't want to talk about that. Okay, so let's get straight into this. The worst villain, in my opinion, in the whole of the Alex Rider universe, his 12th place. It's Herod Sale from Stormbreaker. And I know that could potentially surprise a few people because it is a few people's favourite book. For me, the book in general, I'm not keen on it really. It's probably one of my least favourites. Anyway, Herod Sale, I think the main thing for me is his just complete lack of motivation. I feel like his goals are a little bit daft. I know he got bullied at school and that can't be nice, I can imagine. But I don't think there's any need to try and poison a load of school children. Like, his plot, it had no gain for him apart from a bit of petty revenge, I think. And he just doesn't feel very fleshed out. He's just a bit of a gimmicky guy. The main thing I remember him doing is saying "bliddy" a lot. Because he's playing, snooker with Alex. And he keeps going, "Oh, bloody hell." Like, what's your language? He's only 14. And I don't know. I feel like he's the one I always forget as well when I'm thinking about the villains. He doesn't stick in my mind. I think he's just the most baddie ever. He's like, I'm a bad guy, me. Just because I got bullied and that's it. I don't care for him at all. No offence, Herod, but you are 12th place. In 11th place, we have the Nightshade crew from Nightshade. And I know that's not their official name. I know there's 4 people who make it up. I can't remember the names. It is unprofessional from me, I'm not going to lie. But don't get me wrong, Nightshade as a thing is interesting. I like Nightshade. But the people who make it up, they're not for me at all. They're not for me. I think they've ruined it by letting 4 people run it because you forget the characters' names. I know there's the main guy, Brother Lamar, I think, who's in Nightshade Revenge as well as like the main baddie who visits Alex's house. But they just never really had any impact on me at all. They're very forgettable. And I think when you think of Nightshade, you think of the business thing rather than the people behind it. They're just not really for me. I don't really consider them interesting at all. And that's all I've got to say on them. I have a lot less to say on the new books than I do the old ones, just because I've read them a lot less. In 10th place, we have the Grimaldi twins from... I've forgotten. The Grimaldi twins from Never Say Die. Look, I feel like every like series in the world needs to have, at some point, this pair of like cool twins who do matching moves and that at the same time. And they just didn't really do it for me. I think it's a strange choice. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but every villain since the reboot has been American as well. I know these are Italian names, but it does say they've lived in America, I'm pretty sure, and they are American. Which is fine. That's not a reason why them and Nightshade are both high up my list in a bad way. It's just something, I don't know if Anti the Heroics just fancies making Americans villains. I'm not too sure. But anyway, yes. These were just a bit... They were just a bit weird. And I get they were from Scorpio, which is... I think that's the most interesting thing, that they used to be from Scorpio and then they're looking for money. The evil twins who do the same thing at the same time gimmick has been done. It's been done in Breaking Bad. They did it, and even then, I love Breaking Bad, but I didn't really care for the twins that much. I just think they were a bit gimmicky, as I do with these. They have no real personality. They just got fancy Italian names. Like, I can't think of any interesting quotes or anything that they've said that have ever gone, oh yes, that's good, Grimaldi twins, that was good from you. I think Frankie Stallone's more interesting, if anything, from that book. Frankie the Flame Stallone has got, like, tattoos, and he's a bit more fleshed out. These just don't feel very fleshed out at all, apart from they have matching moves and they grew up together a bit evil and then never spend time apart, which is a bit weird. Get a life. That's why they're 10th place. On to 9th place, and now we do only have the original villains plus the one from Russian Roulette, so the first 10 books, as we move into 9th place. And we have Desmond McCain from Crocodile Tears. I think if Damian Cray didn't exist, this guy would be much higher, but I think he was quite predictable because straight away there was just too many parallels for me not to make it obvious that he was going to be a baddie. Because obviously, we had Edward Pleasure writing a journal on him. Alex being a bit fishy. Where's that come from before? It's Damian Cray. So it feels like a reboot of him. And I know that's not really to do with his character, but his character overall, I think he's interesting. He's got a good backstory, but there's something about him for me. I think if Damien Craig didn't exist and take that spotlight of, ooh, a good celebrity, then yeah, it might be a bit higher. I do like McCain's backstory. I do think it's interesting. Do not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong one bit. He used to be a boxer, and then I like how he, killed Buddy Sangster, I think it was, who won him. Just chucked him under a train, as you do. That's not very good, Desmond. And he was found in a pack of chips as well, which is why he's called McCain. Good name, innit? Imagine being called what you were found in. That's really strange. Yeah, so I think he's a very fleshed out character with his backstory, but beyond that, I do enjoy his presence on screen as well, especially the audiobook. I feel like he's a very powerful, scary man. And by no means is he a bad villain. I think pretty much every Alex Rider villain is interesting in some way. But I think his motives are really good as well. He runs a fake charity and he's a clever guy. But I just think it feels a little bit repetitive and a little bit, once he's like mainly on screen, I think he's better at the start of the book. Once we know he's evil, that's kind of his thing. He's a bit evil, he's a bit crazy, and that's all there is to him. I love his backstory, and I think he's an interesting character, but he's just missing that little bit of something. Moving down to 8th place, with one which actually, when I was making this list, surprised me quite a lot, and it's Abdul Razim from Scorpio Rising. I think this is because he's just not really the main star of that book. It's Julius Grief versus Alex Rider. It's Scorpio versus Alex Rider again, isn't it? I feel like he gets a little bit lost in it. He doesn't really have too much scenes of him. And I think there's the other Scorpion man, who I've just forgotten his name. Yeah, that guy. I think his experiments are interesting. Obviously, he's studying pain, which makes him quite a scary villain straight away. The fact that he doesn't experience emotion or feelings, which is emotion, don't know if I've said that, is interesting as well. But he just doesn't feel very threatening. He's quite like a soft, delicate flower. That's how he's described as. And yeah, he's just not really the star of the show. I think his thought's really cool. That's interesting, Abdul. But apart from that, you don't got too much going for you. You're just a bit of a psychopath, but you're quite a chill guy. You don't particularly scare me when you're on screen. I think it's what you've been up to that scares me more. He's just not got a bad presence, and I think when there's scenes of him actually, interacting with Alex and stuff, he's just a bit meh. He doesn't really... Yeah, I don't know, Abdul. I'm trying to think. The most memorable thing I can remember Abdul doing is dying in the salt. He's got a cool death. And I do like how he's like, oh, I beat you, Alex. And yeah. I like his death. I do like his character, but there's just better characters for me. So, Abdul Razim, you're in 8th place, buddy. Come on, that's not too bad. I will just say that I feel like pretty much any of these I could jumble around quite a bit. I just had to put them in order. I like pretty much every villain from the original 10 books or so. As we move on into 7th, and we have got Julia Rovman from Scorpio, the only woman to make this list. So congratulations, Mrs. Rovman. Yeah, I think she's a good villain. I think the most interesting part about her is her relations with Alex and his father, and she's a big part of Alex's past, whether he knows it or not. And the fact that the entire book, she was literally just messing with him because she wanted him dead from the start. So that was pretty cruel, Mrs. Rovman. Come on. There's no place for that in this world. It's nice to have quite a composed villain as well. She doesn't really lose her head apart from at the end when everything goes a bit wrong, and she gives Alex a little slap. That's not on as well. He's only 14. And she is a little bit flirty with him at times, which is a little bit weird, but yeah, I think she's clever, she's quite cool. She's something a little bit different that the series perhaps needed. It's nice to have a woman villain, it makes things a little bit interesting, and it's good to have some women representation, because women can be just as evil as men, I suppose. So nice one, Horowitz. I haven't got too much to say on her, to be fair. I just think she's quite interesting. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. 6th place now, we have Mr. Major Winston Yu from Snakehead. Snakehead is one of my favourite books, and a decent part of that maybe towards Winston Yu. And I feel like it's less him is his personality, is more his interactions with other people. I feel like a few of his quotes are quite funny, and he's quite a memeable little guy. He doesn't know it. He thinks he's quite tough, but he's just this little petite guy, and he's got a bone disease, which is obviously how he ends up dying. He's got brittle bone disease, whacks his elbow, falls down a big thing. He basically just melts, which is quite horrible, to be honest. But yeah, it was weird having a villain who's so physically weak yet so scary at the same time. I think Horowitz, he did a really good job with that, because he still feels quite scary, even when he's eating his meat with Alex. He's going, oh, this meat's delicious, it's from Yorkshire. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to harvest your organs. The switch up, it's unreal. It's unreal. he just had a complete like lack of care for human life, which while being such a nice guy was weird to see because he was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy, and he's very quotable as well. I'm going to give you another quote. It's something along the lines of he says, "It's a good one. This is a good one." My mother says, "You can lose your wallet, you can lose cards, but you must never lose your temper." Like he cooked with that big time. Let Winston you cook. And I just know if he heard me saying all this about him, he would hate it so much. I like the connotations of how scary he is as well, because everyone thinks they're going to kill him. Everybody thinks that he's going to kill them at any point. Dr. Tanner ends up killing himself because he's just taking orders from him, possibly, which is said. Because he's just that scary. He's just like, I'm going to kill myself rather than let him kill me because he's going to torture me. He killed Captain De Winter as well, the little poor guy. And yeah, I think his interactions with Ash are very good as well. And I have another good quote from him. Alex is like, "Oh, why are you going to go ahead anyway? Because you're going to kill thousands of innocent people." And he just goes, "What reason have you got me to spare them?" That's crazy. He's just like, "Oh, it's fine." He has no respect for human life. But the thing I like about him is, he doesn't care. He just doesn't give a flip. He's just who he wants to be. He's his own man. And Winston, you, for that, you get 6th. On to 5th now. And we have Vladimir Tchaikovsky from Russian Roulette. I think if I was to meet all of these villains in real life, I would be quite scared of this man. He's just a big, scary Russian man with, like, scary tattoos all over him and stuff. Big, muscly man. Owns this massive, like, compound. Keeps people as slaves. He got stabbed and barely didn't even feel it as well by Yasin. Like, how tough is that? And I think he's just a horrible person. And they do such a good job because I think most other villains in Alex Rider, they have, like, quite likeable qualities, which is quite crazy to say, but they're quite funny. Like, I think Winston Yu's quite funny and he's quite cute. Yeah. Desmond McCain, I think he's just quite a fascinating guy. He's quite a buff guy and you can have a bit of respect for him. He's the life of the party, isn't he? He may be a horrible person, but he's the life of the party. Vladimir Tchaikovsky, he's just a horrible, horrible man. And he does a really good job of dehumanizing people. Like having someone just to test your food and see if you die or not. Like that's pretty crazy. Just like, oh, I'm going to eat this and see if you die before I eat it. That's wild. And the fact that he does that is crazy. And I think the whole thing with Estrov in Russian Roulette is really interesting as well. That's got a great plot. We're not going to bring the plot into it, but I'm just saying he's a bit of a mastermind in that. He had a big part in that. And the fact that he got shot like 3 times, landed on his neck, broke his neck, and still lived to tell the tale is absolutely crazy. And I think my favourite quote concerning this guy is something like, I can't actually remember what the quote is, but it's something along the lines of, people said he is the devil. Perhaps it take more than bullets to take him down. Like that is cold. You really feel it, like that he's just this terrifying guy who just can't be killed. And for that, you get 5th, Vladimir Tchaikovsky. Big pat on the back. Well done to you. You're so bad. Moving into 4th place and just missing out on the bronze, it is Nikolai Drevin from Archangel. Nikolai Drevin is a sound bloke, and I think for me, the reason I like him quite a lot is that he owns it. He doesn't really defend his actions, and when he's talking to Alex after he's found him, he's like, I freely admit I'm a criminal, I am. That's what he is. He's not a good person. He knows it. I do think it's really interesting as well that he never really shows any sign of hesitation apart from when his son's involved, and that's like the one thing that troubles him when Alex brings up his son, Paul Drevin, and he's just a little bit like, ooh, he doesn't like that part. I think he's a really clever villain as well. He's a big mastermind. The fact that he invented Force Free, which were that criminal organisation who were like, oh, don't destroy the world, just to basically take attention off him and frame them for doing things that he was doing. Like, he wanted to blow up his big thing and he just made this criminal organisation just to save his own back. It's crazy and it's so clever. That's one of my favourite aspects of his book. And he just feels like a very intelligent man. I do think it's really interesting as well that he slightly like unfolds throughout the book. We kind of see more and more of this bad side of him. Like he gets really, really mad at the go-karts. And then when Alex Rider finds out that he's like the biggest criminal in the world, it's not great. He's a very sore loser. We find that after the Chelsea match as well. After he like kills one of his players and says, Force Free did it. I didn't do it, mate. Force Free did it. It's wild. You can't just go blaming other people for your actions, even though it was them, but he told them to do it. I think another interesting aspect is when he thinks he's killed his own son and he kind of loses the plot as well. He's escaping, he's smug, he's always got his composure, then he shoots his son, thinks he's killed him, flies off in a plane, tries to shoot everyone, and then Alex has tied a canoe to his plane, obviously, so he dies. So that's interesting, isn't it? For that, you get 4th. I'm trying to think of a quote to wrap up Nikolai Drevin's segment. The one that I remember the most is from the audiobook, where he's just kind of talking to Alex in the car, and he's just like, it seems to me like you're an unusual boy. Like, That's so cute. Yep, you get fourth, Nikolai Drevin. You're a good guy. And on the podium now, in third place, he's wearing a bronze medal. It is Mr. South Africa. It's Hugo Grief from Point Blank. Point Blank for me was probably the scariest book of the series. It creeped me out a little bit when I read it for the first time and listened to the audiobook. And a huge part of that is thanks to this man. I feel like he's just so, like, robotic and emotionless at times. He's such a creepy man. He's like a vampire, just kind of waiting in his little office with his red tinted glasses. You know, he sees the world as red, which is already a little bit creepy. But he's such a clever guy. He literally invented cloning in humans. He cloned himself so many times. Got someone to do plastic surgery on all these children to make them look like the people that we're going to replace in the school. Like, I think his whole plan's just very, very clever and very interesting, and it's very different from everything else in Alex Rider, and it's a bit of a sci-fi-ish book without being too unrealistic. Yeah, and I think I really like him, and I'm not too sure why. I don't know if it's because of his accent. I like his accent when I'm listening to the audiobook, and he's got his South African accent. I do really enjoy it. I think he's very cold. He's a very measured man who doesn't really ever lose his temper, and he's a bad man as well. Obviously, we do learn that he's quite the racist, and also we do learn that he is fascinated by the man who was in charge from 1939 to 1945. So make of that what you will. That kind of sums him up a little bit, and that's not why I have him so high. I have him high because he's a villain. Not doesn't matter, but yeah, Hugo Grief, you're a good villain. And probably one of the most interesting things he has said in his life would have to be, I like it when Alex is like, oh, well, maybe nobody wants me at all when he gets sent to the school. And he's just like, we can arrange that too. That creeps me out a little bit. He's just a creep, innit? And for that, you get the number 3 spot. And now with the silver medal, just like his silver hair, I presume, oh no, he dyes it black actually, it's Damien Cray from Eagle Strike. I think this might be a surprise that he's so far up, but he's the funniest villain I have ever known. He makes me laugh so much. And I love, in the audiobook especially, like some of the lines he says, the way he says them, they're just so funny. He gets rage baited so much by Alex and Sabina towards the end, it actually makes me laugh. I just think it's interesting because he believes he's doing the right thing, which is quite different to some. He believes, you know, he hates drugs, and I respect that because I don't like drugs either, Damien. But you don't have to go bury people in the desert and stuff like that. He didn't do that. I meant in the jungle. Yeah, his way around it is basically just, oh, if someone disagrees with me on my cause, I'm going to kill them, so then I get what I want. He's been doing that a few times. Obviously, he's a famous pop singer, has been for years and years, although there is some suspicion, you know, a car landed on his parents, and I reckon he might have pushed that car off the edge. So, we'll see about that, Damien, won't we? Yeah, he's just a funny guy. He's always laughing. He's always making a joke. And I just like how crazy he is, really. Because, like, he's going to blow up half the world just to get rid of some drugs. Which, I mean, drugs are a big problem. Don't get me wrong, Damien. But you can't go starting nuclear wars all over the world to blow up drug suppliers. Like... so my favourite moments with Damien, obviously he does shoot Yasin Grigorovich, which pees me off, because I love Yasin. How dare you do that to me? But there's a moment on the plane where Sabina's like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do to you when you get back to Russia. And he's just like, what do you mean? And he's like, she's often just taken the Michael out of you. But he just seems so concerned at what she's saying. Like, why would she even know anything, Damien? And he's just like so worried. He like takes everything so seriously. But he's so creative as well. He has so much fun. He says Russians don't have a sense of humour when Yasin doesn't want to have all the fun in the world. And he obviously kills someone's out of quarters as well. So that just shows the type of fun man he is. And that's why he gets the number 2 spot. In number 1, I think it's quite a popular opinion actually. It is General Alexei Sarov from Skeleton Key. He just feels like a really fleshed out real villain. It's what everybody says. His relationship with Alex just feels very genuine. He's making up for his son he lost in the war. There's probably some self-blame going on. You know, he always wanted his son to be a soldier. He got killed in the war. And then Alex has come along. He looks up to Alex greatly because of what he's done for his country. He thinks he's passionate. Alex really, you know, he doesn't do it for the love of the game. He does it because he didn't want Jack to get shipped back and he keeps getting used by MI6. But Sarov doesn't see it that way. He just thinks he's a great guy and he wants him to be his son. And Alex doesn't want him to be his son. And I think Sarov is just a really broken man who misses the good old days. Sarov was alive today, he'd probably be looking back at like 2017 Fortnite or whatever. Like, oh, they were the good old days. You know, he's that type of guy. He wants to bring back 2017 Fortnite, basically. If they did rewrite this book, I presume that's what it'd be about. But now he wants to bring back old Russia as it was. He hates the current man in charge, so sets up a scheme to kind of not frame him, but make him look bad for something that's happened, so he can take over. But I think the main thing that I find him interesting with is his thing with Alex, and he does eventually kill himself after Alex just basically refuses to be adopted. He says he'd rather be dead than have a father like you. That must hit him very deep. So Alex kind of made him kill himself, really. But we can't blame him, Alex, for that, because he is a villain, this guy. So good on you, Alex, really. Maybe don't upset people, but I can't blame you one bit. I'd have done the same. He's a broken man, and it's sad to see in a way, because he just wants a son. He wants his son back. He can't get his son back. He sees the son in Alex. Alex refuses. He says, no, Sarov. I don't want to be his son. And all is lost, and he just kills himself, because he's got nothing going. You know, Alex saying Rad be dead, then have a father like him, he cuts very deeply, just because of his son, who also died. He's a sad villain. He's the saddest villain, I think, and in a weird way, he's one that probably I have the most sympathy for, and you can kind of understand where he's coming from. He just wants his country back. He thinks his country's gone to rubbish. He misses his son, and that's pretty much all there is to him. He's not a good guy, obviously. He kills some people, but I think he's very well mannered. He's very cool. He's 60, by the way, but he looks about 40, and he's well buff. Like, how can you be that old? He's literally like the Terminator if he was, like, you know, a bit cooler. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say on him. Can I think of anything else? He does go on runs. That's pretty good as well. Like, he runs like 13 miles every morning. Who could be bothered? His one vice is a little thimble of coffee, which is, well, the grind is real. I like how well mannered he is. Like, he's talking about killing someone, and he's like, I think we might have to remove him from our lives, which unfortunately will involve removing him from his. Like, that's cold. And that does wrap up the video. I hope you did enjoy this ranking. We'll go for it one more time. In 12th place, Herod Sale. 11th place, the Nightshade Crew. 10th place, the Grimaldi Twins. 9th place, Desmond McCain. 8th place, Abdul Razim. 7th place, Julia Rothman. 6th place, Major Winston Yu. 5th place, Vladimir Sharkovsky. 4th place, Nikolai Drevin. 3rd place, Hugo Grief. 2nd place, Damien Cray. And 1st place is General Alexis Sarov. I did all that in one take. I'm really impressed. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jousha Boy. Like, comment and subscribe if you fancy it. If not, that's fine. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.